From Toronto, Phanta Media presents the Not So Corporate Podcast.
Hello, everyone. It's Mark Draker from the Not So Corporate Podcast. I am your host, and here we are in Toronto. We're back. We have everyone here. It's September, and I guess the kids are back in school. Everyone's back in work. Vacation is over, and I guess kids are now in daycare, which means we get to be joined by Leah Earl.
Hello, I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back.
And you're back from maternity leave.
I am, yes, I'm back
Your
from maternity leave.
1 year baby vacation is over.
Yeah, it's
She's
crazy.
still volunteering though, isn't she?
Went by so
Yeah, are you still volunteering or did we put you on payroll?
Actually, that's something I was going to bring up later, but I'll bring it up now. I am being paid now to be here, so watch the difference in my behavior.
So finally you're going to say something properly.
Be a lot more prepared.
So considering that you've missed like the last 4 episodes and also didn't listen to the last 4 episodes, now that you're being paid, you'll be present, right?
How dare you accuse me of that?
Also here in the studio is Louis Vizenios.
Yay!
The
They just met for the first time, so Mark wasn't quite sure what his last name was.
I say his last name wrong every single time.
No, you got it right this time.
And also head of production here at Phanta Media, Roland Echevarria.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hi.
You know, it took me like 4 years to learn how to say his name.
You said it wrong.
Fuck you, I did? Okay, give it to me. Okay,
What?
Roland, go.
Roland, go.
No, what's your last name?
Echevarria. You got to say it like
Roll
that.
the R's.
I can't do that. Roland Echevarria.
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 See, Leonidas got it.
Echevarria. Echevarria. I sound like I'm choking on like oysters or something. Anyway, welcome back. I'm glad that we could all get back together. Today we're going to be talking about drones a little later on. It's a topic that we are all so thrilled about, right?
Yes, so excited. Drones, the Muse album from 2015.
You did your research.
I did.
So you just looked up every single thing that has the word drones in it, eh?
Oh, I did not. I looked up on Wikipedia drones, and it tells you everything that has drones in it.
Very cool. But first, let's catch up. Roland, how's China doing?
China's doing great. Actually, no, the economy sucks balls now, doesn't it?
Yeah, huge China update since we got together last, right?
Those Chinese.
It
just
tanked
always-
the North American markets as well, eh?
Well, I'm
You're good?
I'm
Louis,
good.
since we saw you last, what's happened in your life?
I went to
Got
Windsor.
married. You
I
got
went to
married.
the town of Windsor.
You went to the armpit of
Wow.
Canada.
That's correct.
Wow, Windsor.
Yeah.
Or is I don't know
Where-
if it's Windsor or if it's
Where I like to call it Beyond Thunderdome. Because everyone drives there and no one cares about pedestrians.
Okay.
It's basically the Mad Max location for like, it will be the apocalyptic Mad Max location.
I love that reference. I get that reference and I love that reference. Is that
Okay.
a movie you're referencing again?
Yeah.
Wait, you don't
Yeah,
get
you
it?
know Mad Max.
Mad Max?
I only know that it was out in the theater this summer and
What?
that it's about them
What?
looking for oil, but it turns out to be a
No.
tanker full of
I
water.
saw
Have
it.
you
I
seen
was
the
on baby
original one?
vacation.
No, I haven't seen the original.
Okay, let's just move on.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson, I know that.
Tina Turner was in the one that I just referenced. Yeah.
Is that Mad Max 2 or is
No,
that
is
the modern one?
Third one.
Yeah, it's like
You know what is on
Reference.
Netflix that I'm going to watch that I haven't seen yet? First Blood. Never seen the Rambo series. I have it in my list. I'm going to watch it. Is it
should
good?
do it
I like it. Yeah.
before you get too old.
Why? You can get too old for First Blood?
You always.
I don't know what you mean by that, but I feel like that's a double entendre.
It's the original F the Police movie.
What?
Really?
Yeah, because there's all those cops in that movie, and
Do they all die?
no, but they're trying to get John Rambo, and he doesn't.
I didn't
want
even
any
know
of
that his first name was John.
it. Yeah, it's John.
That's pretty
Johnny
disappointing.
Rambo.
Yeah.
Is
I thought his name was Rambo, like Madonna. Like
No,
his
that's
name
his
is
last name.
Rambo.
This is last thing.
Man, I got so much to learn about movies.
Rambo.
Leah, what's
I've-
happened
I've
since
not
you've been
seen
here?
Rambo.
You have not been here in 2
Hey,
months.
Leah, I heard you want to buy a new house.
Yeah, I just need my husband to make a little more cash.
But he has an MBA, doesn't he?
Lord knows I'm not making it here.
Oh, jeez.
It's your
Oh,
second day back.
Day one.
And
day two.
I
I'm
know
totally joking.
you are not allowed to cut that joke out.
No, I'm cutting it
You know-
out.
you know-
I need that on.
You know, there's always some truth in every joke.
Roland just says
Roland,
that 'cause
stop clipping. Now that I have to cut this, everyone be a lot.
no
more
one's
polished,
clipping
please.
here. Is anyone clipping?
No, I'm not clipping.
Nope.
Let's hear.
I'm perfectly
Sound check.
clear.
Sound check.
There was
Steady
a-
levels.
I've been
Yeah.
watching.
No,
that.
there's no reason to cut
Check,
this,
check,
Leah.
check.
Well,
check.
I turned 30
Jono.
while I was gone.
You turned 30.
I did. Yeah.
So and you went on vacation as well to a few more cottages.
Yes, basically
And a
this
couple
summer,
barbecues.
if you have a cottage, I was like, hello.
Can I ask you a question? This is something I'm not sure about. How do you expect to get a new house, a bigger house, if you want your husband to work more, but you went away all summer?
Wow.
What do you mean?
You went to Hawaii.
Wow.
Yes.
You went to cottages,
Yes, I went to cottages,
Cottages
for
are free, though.
but it means that he's not hustling.
Oh, he did not come.
You went on
Wait,
vacation
You did
without
not
him?
go to Hawaii alone.
He was hustling. No, he went to Hawaii. But
Okay.
Hawaii was sort of a business trip.
He was selling.
What? There's no way for you to pretend that was a business
It
trip.
was a
actually,
business trip.
it was a business trip for my dad.
You may have written it off as a business trip, but that
No,
doesn't
no,
make
no.
it a business
It
trip.
was a
Oh,
man-
CRA is
it was
gonna
a
call him.
conference.
Oh, CRA, the IRS.
All right. Well, you know what? I don't really need a bigger house. If we have more kids, we're going to need a bigger house. But that is just...
How many bedrooms do you have?
I have 3.
You have 3 bedrooms already?
That's
Yeah.
plenty. Wait, what
How
else
many?
you want?
How much square footage?
So we can just rock the dragger way. You can have 4
It's called bunker
kids.
beds.
We had 6 people in a
I
3-bedroom
know.
house.
You guys... Yeah, that's amazing.
Bunker bed.
You
Yeah.
guys must really like each other.
Not really, no. No, that's not true.
No, you
I love
do.
my wife and kids.
Ooh, snap.
You're not allowed to cut that
Oh
out
my goodness, am
either.
I cutting this?
Very cool, very cool. Well, let's start the conversation on drones now.
Spy house.
So we wanted to talk about drones because it's been a hot topic for 2 or 3 years now, and the biggest thing is it's obviously exploding. It's become part of the mainstream. People are aware of them. People are buying them. They're playing around with them. They're losing fingers. It's basically like fun and games for everyone. But over the last year in Canada and as well in the States, a lot of legislation has come through to really change the way that we as producers are able to leverage them and use them. And then we got to manage that against the expectations of clients, because clients think that they're really simple, they're really easy, they're really cheap. Wouldn't it be great to do it? But there are a lot of rules around it. So we wanted to just talk about this a bit today because, one, I think there's ways that you can really leverage it in a fun and interesting way. You can get unique angles, you can do different things. But two, we kind of need to be aware of the fact that I think we're in a sweet spot
They
right now
fly.
where they're popular enough, people are willing to pay for it. But it's just before the legislation comes down to the point where you're not able to do anything with them. I think we're gonna hit a point in the future where really it'll be really super hard to be able to fly drones or use drones, because I think people are going to start getting hurt with them. That's what I think. I think they're going to start getting hurt with them. They're going to start crashing into things. Something's going to go wrong, and then just like that, we won't be able to use them anymore.
Anything that starts as something that is a hobbyist or enthusiast, or that has roots in that kind of movement, people pick it up, they play with it, and once that starts getting, aside from the military and surveillance applications of it, once you start having fun with it and it grows in popularity, there's going to be issues around like airspace, and if it gets crowded up there, then you're going to have to, really lock down on increased legislation and control, right?
So standard rules are you have to be sub 500 feet.
Okay, yeah.
You're not allowed to go above a 500-foot ceiling, and that's pretty standard in most areas. Now I'm going to be speaking about rules exclusively for kind of Canada, but in most
Right.
areas you have to be sub 500 feet. You have to be a certain distance from your nearest airport. So here you have to be at least 9 kilometers away from the nearest airport. So that would be like 5 or 6 miles away from your nearest airport, which is pretty far. Like if you look at a map and you start dropping points to where airports are and you start circling out rings from how far you have to be, that doesn't really give you too much. The next rule is you can't be really near a populated space. So you can't be really near any populated structures. So like you can't fly over a highway, can't fly near a building. And again, that's a pretty vague rule, but if you start to look at that, you go, okay, so now I got to fly below 500 feet, I can't be near an airport, and I can't be near a populated space or be near any structures. You start to look at all that stuff, and it really starts to limit where you'd use it. Now, Roland, like you have the most experience from anyone here in terms of stuff. We did a project this summer that we talked about on an earlier episode where you kind of flew across Canada and hit
On a drone.
Flew across on a drone. No, you flew across Canada and you shot in outside Vancouver and Edmonton and Calgary and Toronto and Montreal. And each of these locations you shot with you shot drone footage.
Yes.
I mean, what were the main precautions in terms of being at each of those locations? Like we didn't just get a little, what are the little guys called, Daisy? Is that what they're called?
Lilies.
Lilies. We didn't get like a little
Yeah.
lily and just shoot stuff. Like we kind of did this. We had real equipment here.
Yes. Drones was interesting. Like you said, we were lucky that what we were doing, it was kind of far away from airports. But yes, we had to approach that, find out what the locations were. So there are two ways to really get a permit to fly. Either A, if you can apply for a permit to fly a specific path, but then you need to know every single point and you need to submit it. And in some jurisdictions, takes like months for you to get permission. So what we did, I was able to find people who are blanketed permits, which means they have the ability to fly pretty much anywhere as long as pretty much Transport Canada trusts them to follow the rules, and then they can fly anywhere, and they use the judgment to do that. Yes, like you said, we were looking at airports. There's nothing 9 kilometers around us. 400 feet is actually what we were working within, not 500.
Okay.
And we couldn't fly over highways, main streets, or train tracks or anything like that. Really, it's kind of, if you really look at it, in a lot of ways, you're not even supposed to film in cities with this thing because population's everywhere. There are all the rules about release forms and all that stuff. But even though it's a open space, there's some concerns about privacy and whatnot.
Yeah.
The big thing is we were able to work always launching from a park and staying within that park where there was no I guess risk to for the thing to fall on someone's head or car or what have you. But other than that was it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you're going to get a drone for personal use, my understanding is that there's different classifications. So if you want a drone for personal use, you get a little tiny drone, a nice cheap guy, you fly it, you do anything you want. You can, I mean, there's a few rules, not near airports, not near populated areas, but you don't have to submit, applications and laws.
It's under like 2 kilograms, I think.
I think so, but as soon as you start doing anything for commercial reasons, and think about the fact that you might say you're shooting it for personal reasons, but if you use the footage for commercial reasons, then it became a commercial shoot. And so, you really got to be careful and kind of consider how Wild West you want to go about it, because if you just want to, I don't know, if you just want to do whatever you want, then go out there and shoot it, and that's fine. But you got to keep in mind that it's to be expected that they may come back later and ask how the footage was acquired and what safety standards took place with the footage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're doing it for personal reasons, go ahead, have some fun, just try and be safe about it. But if you're doing it for business reasons, as you mentioned, there are people who have been already pre-approved, they've already done the applications, they've already flown enough times, they have enough hours in, they have the proper insurance, they basically have made a profession of it. And so Transport Canada, the government here, has decided that they are free to fly as much as they want, wherever they want, as long as they don't mess up, they won't have their license pulled. The other option, as you mentioned, is to submit every single flight plan. So if we were producers and we wanted to purchase a drone and we wanted to fly regularly, what would be the best course of action, Roland? Would
You
it
just
be
have to go and literally apply for different flights, and after a certain number of once you develop a relationship with Transport Canada, you submitted paperwork the right way. You've done your flights, everything's been safe, successful, and there's record and there's a knowledge of what you do, and you come as a professional. Eventually, after like 2 years or something like that, they might grant you the blanketed license where you can now operate at any time. Because this thing is like, with commercial projects, we don't get to sit around for a month or two to wait for a permit, and it's weather dependent. What did we say? We need a permit for Tuesday, this date, and then that day is raining. We can't fly in rain, so it's a bit tricky. You gotta fly. So a lot of what people do, they do a lot of personal projects and submit a lot of flight plans. That way, they get experience, they get that exposure, and once they start working on the commercial side of things, the idea is to have that blanketed. Because if I say, hey, I need someone next Saturday, X place to do some shots. If it's raining, let's do a Sunday. Like, again, not a problem. I can do that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But that's just it's like everything takes a while to get there to get that blanket permit.
So you're suggesting shoot lots and lots of just basically your flight time. Like if you were to become a pilot or anything else, you need your hours in the cockpit. Just get your flight time. Shoot as many personal things as you can just to get the hours booked in.
Pretty much, you're being a pilot. You're piloting an object. You're in the air. You gotta fly. You gotta keep it up there. You cannot be crashing it. You cannot be running into a car. You can onto someone walking on the street. You cannot just drop in their heads. You're flying an object. You're a pilot in a lot of ways.
It's interesting. Another reason why we chose to go with professional companies when we did this project was because insurance is a huge deal, and it's something that most producers don't think about. Now within our corporate insurance policy, we have really high insurance limits, and we carry a lot of extra insurance to make sure that everything's safe. Again, we're maybe I'm a bit square. I'm not really very Wild West. I personally really care about liability and really care about insurance and make sure we do things the safe way, because you have one big slip up, your whole company can be gone. And so when we were looking at doing blanket license for the insurance, our corporate insurance provider and our production package specifically excludes aerial footage. And it says that aerial footage, pyrotechnics, stunts, things like that are completely excluded. So part of partnering with a company that is already blanket licensed, that already has the equipment, that already has the experience, meant that we could also leverage their insurance, their liability. They were the third party taking care of everything. We were simply making requests for what might take place, but they really, it was their insurance, their coverage, their package. There's not really any question in terms of what you guys think about that. It's just something to consider, because when you're flying an object up in the air and you're over people, it's not unrealistic to think that something might go wrong. There might be a gust of wind, it might crash, it might hit something. And so you think, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? It might scratch a car or something, but it might hit somebody. Like, I don't know, you spent so much time flying them. I mean, they're pretty dangerous items, aren't they? Like, the blades are really whizzing around.
Well, yeah, it's funny because we had a DJ1 Inspire, which is not big guy, but it's fairly large. It's the biggest one in the semi-professional world. And when the thing takes off, you feel the air, you feel the wind coming from the blades. If your finger gets caught in that, it's going to chop it because it's going pretty fast. Even though it's just carbon fiber, it's going so fast, moving so fast that it can do that to you. But it's just like in any aircraft. You put it up in the air, and the wind is kicking the left, right, and center, and then you got to compensate. You got to keep it balanced, just like a helicopter plane. And we shot stuff, and there's a lot of stuff you can tell. Like even when you're filming the footage, you see the legs come in at times, even though they're raised. But sometimes a wind would take it, and you feel it going, and you're fighting it, and you're flying with this. We didn't have any issues whatsoever. The other thing I wanted to add to the rules nowadays is municipalities are coming up with bylaws that they don't let you launch, even though Transport Canada says yes, you can fly from this point on. A city bylaw can come and say no, you can't.
Oh, that you're not allowed to launch from that place.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, when I was in Calgary, it was Stampede weekend or week, whatever. We went up to this little mountain. Just park, green space, perfect. We can take off. We were not gonna fly over to the Stampede. We just wanted to go up 400 feet and get the POV. You see downtown Calgary. Mm-hmm. You see the Stampede, tons of people, but we're not gonna fly over it. And literally, we're like 30 seconds up in the air, and the bylaw police shows up. And so we took it down and said, we have a license. We showed the license. Said, Calgary, the bylaw in Calgary doesn't allow you to take off any public space.
Really, but a private space you could.
So they showed us the bylaw. Was okay, show it to us. We showed it. Okay, fine, I understand. Even though he has a license, he cannot do that. We literally just crossed the street and asked him because their home is right there. Yeah. We asked the person, say, hey, can we take off from your front lawn? They say, sure, not a problem. So we got the exact same shot, but we got permission to launch from that lawn. We didn't go anywhere. We just went straight up. Yeah. Shot it and
went straight
down. That's it.
So like the biggest thing that I think a lot of people who think about aerial footage is that you're going to get up there, you're going to have this beautiful smooth footage, it's going to be amazing, or they think, wow, with all of these anti-shake? What would be the stabilizer? In software, all the software today can stabilize everything. It's so amazing.
No, the one we were using had a 3D axis.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask. So what are some things to do in order to get the footage that you're actually going to be proud of? You don't want it dipping up and down. You don't want it kind of zipping left to right. You don't want everything off axis. You don't want it kind of unsteadily moving through the air. So what are the ways to ensure that if you're considering getting a drone, or if you're looking at hiring someone with a drone, or and you close your eyes and you imagine you're going to have the most beautiful footage ever, sometimes it comes back and it looks like garbage. So what are the ways? What are the tricks? What are the ways to overcome that?
Well, the truth is most of these new drones have gimbals in them, so they stabilize the camera right in there. So
and is that mechanical or electric?
I think it's mechanical. I really don't know. I don't
Okay.
get into specs. But I know the stabilize the footage is surprising because you can see the unit move in the air, and when you look at the monitor, it's pretty steady. It's pretty great. So the thing is using one of those, which unless it's super super cheap, most of them have it by now. Stabilizing head or gimbal. What else? Really try not to fight the wind. Try to go with the wind, just like an aircraft. It likes to just be taken off and floats nicely. If you're fighting it, you're stalling. You have this little, even though they go fast, it's still a small engine, a small little apparatus fighting wind. So that you can feel like the struggle. If you try to go against it, it's better to go with the wind. And what else? Because really, you gotta. The thing a lot of people think is you put it up in the air and you get great shots, and that's it. But you gotta. So there's two things. People think you go up in the air, you get great shots, but also you can do everything you want. And the truth is, it's not. You gotta go up there. You need to plan it. You need to think about where you're gonna film, and some stuff you cannot get. Like even if I wanted to get shots like traveling, looking down, passing people, or going on a highway, you can't do it by law. So a lot of things you cannot do for those purposes. So you gotta plan it. You gotta think about what you want, but also everyone I work with, because we hire them because we're professionals. They would say I can do this or I cannot do this, and it was just a collaboration between us, saying I would like this. What can we do to get this effect, this feel, and then we work a way to get it or compromise. So instead of flying, let's say along a building, we just go up and down or whatever it is to get the shot.
One thing that drives me crazy, which I've seen in only a few shots, but it seems to happen enough that I've thought about it, is consider where the sun is when you're shooting, because there's nothing worse than beautiful drone footage where you see the shadow of the drone on the ground. I mean, it's just like, it kills me. But I was watching this really expensively produced documentary. They put a lot of money into it. Big documentary, and all the drone footage had the shadow of the drone because the sun was behind the drone and they were flying. Yeah. And it's just like, why would you use that footage? Like, that drives me. Like, you wouldn't send a cameraman out and then have the shadow of the cameraman on the ground, right? Like, you just would never do that. So I don't know, if there's a way to overcome that, Roland. I don't know if you guys ran into that or not. But
yeah, we did. There's actually a few shots where I could see the drone. It was about finding the part that I was going to use from that clip. So, for example, there's a shot where I'm looking down to this, like, it looks like a coin in a monument. And as I wanted to be close and pull out. As I pull out, you see the shadow of the drone because it was around 1 p.m. Ideally, let's chill for until 3:30 and we get the shot. But I couldn't just sit around and wait for.
So did we use part of that, or did we digitally remove the shadow?
No. So what I did is we found a good starting point, and as I'm going up and twisting right, I think halfway through what I wanted, we start seeing the drone. So we just literally use that first part where we don't see those drone.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's that.
We also scaled the shot up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the shadow, along with kind of carefully selecting the part of the shot and then scaling up a portion of the shot, made it usable.
So obviously you guys think it's worth it, but what value add does it have for videos to have drone footage? It's like red tape apparently, and
I love red tape.
Roland loves when I sell a project that has a lot of complicated bureaucratic elements to it, and he's like, "This is gonna be such a good challenge," and then suddenly goes halfway through, goes, "Oh man, there's so much stuff to figure out."
Red tape, I love it.
How was the Punta Cana shoot for getting
Punta
stuff
Cana?
Across the border and all that?
Oh, we didn't have a drone for that one.
We didn't have a drone, but we had lots of red tape.
Yeah, we lost everything to the sea.
We shot a commercial down in Punta Cana where we flew all of the equipment down there, and and the lawyers down there couldn't get the equipment through customs. They apparently in Dominican Republic, there's only one person in the whole country who has to see an equipment list, and he refused to look at it, that person, because he was leaving office that week. And he didn't want to look at it because he was leaving office. There was no one else who had taken his position yet, so he wouldn't look at it. So our equipment sat in lockup in customs for an entire week while we scrambled to rent local equipment to replace the broadcast equipment.
Yeah.
What do we take down? An Airy?
Areal Alexa.
Yes, and all of the equipment sat in lockup
Yep.
for an entire week. So that's what I think of when I think of red tape.
Well, it depends where you work. I know. When I was working with the drone guys, everyone like in should I say this? Western Canada, everybody said, no, it takes time, but it's pretty chill. When I went to Montreal, the guys were like, this is brutal to get a permit to shoot here because they're so lazy.
The government
The
in Montreal?
French people.
That's what the people in
French
Montreal
people in
said?
general?
Okay, so hold on. Let's clarify, please, before we get angry letters. The people in Montreal,
my Montreal
said that
team
the people
said
in Quebec who work for the government are really lazy and
It
slow.
said it's almost impossible to get a permit. I applied for a permit like 3 months ago. I'm still waiting to get it. I already shot the thing. I'm still waiting to get the permit. Anyways, it's hard. So he was pretty excited about Ontario because it took 2 days for them to get a permit in Ontario while they were in Montreal for 3 months.
That's right.
So potentially, if you don't have a permit but you need to shoot right away, it's really about finding someone who has that license, hiring them. Even if you're gonna work with them, it's just about bringing someone on board who has that blanket license, essentially.
100%. You need to have that one with a blanket permit because they have insurance. Something goes wrong, you're covered, everything's kosher.
And so what about all the people who say that Amazon and the future, like, you know what? I grew up reading comics from the 60s at my cottage when, on rainy days, you'd pull out this old box of comics from when my parents were kids. And the Richie Rich comics always said that we'd have flying cars and robot butlers and all this crap in 2000. Clearly that didn't happen.
You weren't reading Richie Rich. You were reading Betty and Veronica, weren't you?
I did read Archie as well, but they had Richie Rich comics too. And then Back to the Future, we were supposed to have a hoverboard, that we could fly. Today, everyone's predicting that the future, you look up in the sky, it's going to be filled with drones going everywhere, flying everywhere. Like, is that really the future? Is that really realistic?
No.
No, I don't even see the point of that.
No.
Well, Amazon says it's going to happen.
Amazon says a lot
And
of
Donald
things.
Trump says it's going to happen.
It's
No, he
not
didn't
going to
say that.
happen for two reasons: paranoia and terrorism. Those.
Whoa!
Whoa, wow.
This just got heavy.
Mercy.
All right.
Okay, let's hear more
Let's
about
hear
your
the first one.
Yes, go.
Well, I just think that to address paranoia. So Roland mentioned that we had used the DJI, the Inspire.
That's right.
They do make
On mic, please, Roland.
That's right.
So they do make another lower end version.
The terrorist version?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm
It's
sorry.
only $1,000. Terrorist approved.
We do not agree with any form of terrorism.
No, we don't. We don't
Thank
deal
you.
with terrorists.
Let's put that on the record.
So they make another version that has the ability to live stream directly to YouTube.
What?
Yeah. So
You need pretty good Wi-Fi for that.
yeah, you do, or you could pair it with your device.
It's like
that's
drone periscope.
Yeah. So what you can do is just go over to go check out the Bruce Springsteen concert with your drone and just live stream it to YouTube, and then you're gonna get a takedown notice, but I mean someone might see it, a couple thousand people might see it before
Yeah.
that happens.
Okay, so that's the paranoia. Or
So
that's
yeah,
the
that's
terrorism?
that's the paranoia, and then the terrorist aspect is that there's obviously a heightened awareness of terrorism and the possibility of terrorism,
Mhm.
and drones seem like a likely delivery method, to either drop something or
Yeah.
cover an area with something. So I think those two factors, one obviously more commercial, financial incentive, and the other is obviously a security issue. I think with those two things, you're going to see not this envisioned world of drones in the sky everywhere and this whole Jetsons thing going on. I don't think that's going to
I
happen.
really was
Well,
looking forward to that.
Well, don't you think they'll continue to tighten up rules and make it more difficult? And so
I think they're
I don't
gonna
think
make
it's
it.
about making it difficult. I think it's about there's a lot of stupid people out there,
Yeah.
and when you give something like this, which is not a toy, but most
Yeah.
people think it's a goddamn toy,
Mm-hmm.
they go out there and start acting stupid. Then you had to put rules.
But there's
just
no
like
rules.
planes,
But there's
just
no rules
helicopters,
against.
like everything.
There's no rules against personal use. Last year, some guys up in Bobcaygeon, I think it was in Bobcaygeon, Northern Ontario, they taped fireworks to the what are those things? Roman candles
Yeah.
that shoot out, right?
Yeah.
They taped them to the edge of a drone and then videotaped themselves running naked kind of, or in boxers, on a frozen lake while the drone chased them, trying to hit them with fireworks. One, there's no rule against that because it's for personal use.
Right.
Incredibly stupid, but
Yeah.
so that's one. The second is have you ever heard of POV racing? Have you ever heard of POV drone racing? So these guys create these drones that go incredibly fast, and they have a camera on them, and I think they wear like Oculus glasses or something. But basically, they set up a course, and it's like RC racing
Yeah.
where the cars race around, but you're flying drones
That's
incredibly fast. So the footage is super cool, but it's really dangerous. Again, nothing illegal about that.
Yeah.
So the commercial guys, the people who want to use it for film, are going to constantly have to go through tighter and tighter and tighter rules.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for personal use,
You
is
can just
are the
shoot
cops
Roman candles
you
at
can-
your butt.
you ouch your butt? Yes, you,
yes, you can.
No, weren't they shooting them at their butts? They were.
yes, they
naked.
were. I'm sure they had MBAs, but
Who
those guys-
doesn't? They just told us out.
so those were two examples of personal use. The other video that I found online, which I thought was incredible, were these guys in the UK who just bought a brand new drone. What's the brand name? DJI.
DJI, yeah.
They spent £3,000 because in the UK it's expensive to get.
Yeah.
On their first night, they were doing test sessions, just up and down, up and down, and up and down. But they were like in a walled garden, like just in a private area, just 30 feet up, 30 feet down. Anyway, guy miscalculates, flew it into the wall, and destroyed all of the rotors, all of the blades,
Yeah, they got stupid though.
and completely, just in testing, completely destroyed
if
the
you-
entire unit.
But if you don't know how to fly something, you start small. You buy the $50 little helicopter, and you
yeah,
learn the
exactly.
controls.
Well, that's
You
what I
don't-
was going
You
to
don't
get
jump
to
in a
next.
Formula One car and start
No.
learning how to drive. You
Can I just
start in a
clarify
little
something?
go-kart or something like that.
Sorry, so that's what I was going to say next. Like, so if you want to get into droning? If you want to get into flying drones,
like it.
I like drone and
drone in.
Yeah.
If you want to get into drone in, then you need to start small, as you're saying. Like, so start with like a Lily or something, or like
even smaller. You can get the ones from like Future Shop for like $50. It's like a little helicopter, little thing. You fly around your house until you learn the control. You learn what
if you.
mechanics are, and then you go higher.
Side
and you go
note
higher.
from my kids, just because we've run into this, if you have a daughter or a girl with long hair, keep the blades and the rotor away from their long hair. It's really hard to cut it out later.
Should we ask what happened?
Jonah, yeah, my 7-year-old got a helicopter for Christmas last year, and it lasted exactly 3 days before he destroyed it.
That's pretty good.
3 days?
It's not
Better
bad.
than those British
It's not
guys.
bad. Yeah, exactly.
I like that. My 7-year-old's better than the British guys. You're gonna say something?
Yeah, my question was, so there are absolutely no rules if you're using it for personal use?
The recommendations.
Recommendations.
But no rules.
Well, can't be within 9 kilometers of a thing. Can't go over 400
Yeah,
Okay,
feet.
so
those are the
those rules
rules,
still
yeah.
apply.
Standard
Okay.
rules, but you don't have to. You
So-
don't have to put a flight permit in.
No.
You.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I
you-
meant.
you
Like,
just-
you still can't be flying over a city or...
No.
No.
Well, no, but I
Because
mean,
this guy was in his walled garden.
this is in the UK, right? Different
Yeah.
rules. I know
Right,
that I listened to
right.
a podcast about drone technology in the States, and they shared a story. I think it was an NPR podcast, Planet Money, where they were sharing a story where this guy in, I think, Louisiana or something, uses drones through the bayou
Yeah.
to source alligators or
Sure.
crocodiles or whatever it is. Like, so he flies a drone through, tries to find them because I think he's doing a nature preserve, or he's trying to kill them. I can't
Trying to
remember the
make some money on
podcast
the
exactly,
side.
but he's trying to either save them or hurt them. I don't remember which, but he uses drones for that. And equally in California, there were some people, there was like this one guy who had this beautiful view, and some creep in their neighborhood kept flying a drone up just to see into
Yeah.
their house, right? What you can't call the cops. You can't a drone
Well-
flies by your house, no,
And it's funny
destroys
'cause
all
I
your
don't know if you-
privacy.
I don't know if you heard the story about the guy that shot the drone that was above his house, and he got arrested for shooting the drone. He's like,
Well-
it's above my house.
Well, you don't own the space above your house, first of all.
But he was worried about privacy. He didn't know who was looking in.
Okay, but you don't own this. This is the issue with drones, right? You don't own the space above your house. You have no expectation of privacy if you're out of the house. If the drone is looking into your house, then it's breaking the law. But you still,
Right.
I mean, at what point are you allowed to shoot stuff? I mean, unless you're in Texas,
It's America.
Yeah.
America.
America.
Yeah.
In America, you can do what you want when you want.
Whenever
Land
you
of the
want.
free.
There was also with the wildfires this summer in California, even in BC, people were flying drones and helicopters with water couldn't fly because people having fun,
Yeah.
getting cool shots, were flying the drones while the fires were going on.
What's this world coming to?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that affects us is we have
Yeah.
clients who are going like, well, just get some drone footage. Drones are the coolest. Oh, it's so easy. It's so cheap. Why can't you just do this? Why can't you do that? The truth is that if you're going to play by the rules, we like to play by the rules.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do some of this stuff, right? Like it's hard to get the footage. I'd love to get footage starting at like a desk, flying across a 200,000 square foot factory, and then out the door
Yeah.
to 2 kilometers away, and then reverse the footage, and then all of a sudden you're coming from the sky into a factory and through the factory, and then to someone's desk.
Yeah, you can do that.
Sounds awesome. So you can do that within the current rules?
Why not? As long as it's that close to an airport.
Yeah.
You
If you're on
know,
private property,
as long as you have permit to. I mean, if you go inside the factory, clearly you have permission to be there.
but you can't fly near any structures or a populated area.
As long as but if they have consent, yeah, they can. If
So
it's a
with-
private space, you
So
can.
with consent, you can fly close to any kind of built-up space?
Yeah, I think so. I think the rule says just you cannot go like downtown Toronto and start flying drones through the towers. But if
You'd
you're like,
need a helicopter for that.
even then they can get through it. They had to be like around it.
Yeah. So when you were in Montreal, for people who don't know, Montreal is built on a river, and it's actually an island on the river. And so when you were shooting in the port of Montreal, you were on a really small island or on like a peninsula or something that's just kind of away from the city by a few hundred yards.
Yes.
So you're allowed to shoot there because it's kind of close to populated area, but the space where you were launching from and landing wasn't populated.
The
or
only thing we you pretty much can do everything, but we couldn't fly over people. So for example, a lot of our shots are from the water, from the actual river. So we go by the park,
yeah,
by the green space, and
Yeah.
fly out into the water,
yeah.
and we can shoot from there, looking into the Port of Montreal kind of thing. Or within the park, we go up and down, but we make sure that no one was around us when we went up and down.
And do you get people like gawking, like walking over and like, oh, this is pretty cool? Like I guess they're in French, so they're like, blah, 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 with but like,
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
like
Yeah, that's the
positively.
thing. Like you get people around you, so
And then
you
all the
have to stop.
cigarette smoke from all the people in Montreal. Like,
Yeah.
does that get in on the camera and
and the
stuff?
one with
or-
no bra walking close to
Yeah,
you,
that's right.
talking.
So
Yeah.
so how do you
Hard-
shoot
hard
around?
stuff.
how do
Shave
you
those
sh-
armpits.
Oh, just so everyone knows, again, we're offending a lot of people here, but Louis is from Montreal, so let's get that cleared.
It's crystal clear.
Edit.
We're good.
Leah just wants to cut everything out of this.
No podcast.
It's gonna welcome to the podcast and thank you.
Very cool. Well, listen, Roland.
It was just fun. It was Montreal was fun. A lot of people came to you. You gotta stop it. You gotta say, guys, push back or whatever. We just literally had to take it and go somewhere else where it was quieter. The funny thing is, kids always think it's a toy, and you can be flying and you see a kid running after it. Like you don't want to be doing that, kid. So we had a little instance like that where we just had to keep it in the water until the parent showed up. You gotta give her the kid. We gotta land this thing.
So, how much time do you have with one? I know each device is different, but what's your average fly time on batteries? 20
Like
minutes?
the one we had was like 20-25 minutes. Yeah,
And then how long's the recharge cycle?
about an hour.
So you'd have, I guess, 4 or 5 sets of batteries.
Pretty much everywhere I went, we had 6 batteries.
Yeah.
And we had charging stations. So like in BC, we shot 6 in the morning. We went for lunch for an hour, recharge everything, continue shooting. In Calgary, because we're in Alberta, we don't really like the planet in Alberta. So the guy run the car the whole day while he charged batteries.
He ran his truck the whole day?
It's Alberta, man. We have oil. We
So it's
destroy
good.
the
You got
planet.
the oil right there. You just
Who
plug
gives,
it
who
in.
gives a shit? It's Alberta.
That is so funny. But in BC,
It was
probably,
a Raptor too, a 5.8 liter vehicle running all day
I
long.
think they're 6.3 liters.
Whatever. Anyways, we should cut this out.
6.7. 6.7? No, we're not going to cut that out. Stop
guy.
telling
The guy
her
was
to
a nice
cut everything
guy.
out.
It was a nice
He's
guy.
a nice guy, that's fine. But it's funny that in Montreal, they come a little bit prepped. In
No,
Vancouver, they
no.
probably showed up in a Prius, but you get out to Alberta, and
It's
he's
funny
leaves
'cause
his truck
it's
driving
funny,
all
like
the
you see
idling.
all the stereotypes. Like in Vancouver, they got had like it was very hippish. He was drinking like organic coffee and slipped in sandals. He broke his bicycle to go for the trails.
He rode his bicycle with the drone?
No, he had like a Mazda 3 with tons of shit and like 3 bicycles hanging from the back because he was gonna do the trail. So I was like, okay, cool.
Nice. Yeah.
In Calgary, got a big truck, a Raptor, running it all day long, charging batteries. Alberta, and in Montreal, they showed up late.
Showed up late. High?
No, they were not high.
They were on pot.
They showed up late. They were living the rules a little bit more. And yeah, it was fun.
Very cool. So real quick, so if we wanted to get into this, if someone wanted to get into this, your first recommendation I think is great. Start small, work your way up to get your fly time, to get accustomed to how things fly. But walk me through, what you think the steps would be, and then just some general costs if someone wanted to get into this.
Okay, so start small, like find little flying objects in Future Shop or Best Buy. What is it? Which one is?
Best
Which one's
Buy's in
still
the
open
States.
right now?
Best Buy's in the States. Still,
Best
I think.
Buy. That's the best way to learn. So once you get the control, the forward, the backwards, the up and down buttons, you know what you get the coordination going on with your fingers. You can get a little bit bigger drone. Maybe you get one that goes with a little GoPro. It's about $1,000 nowadays, pretty cheap, with one battery because you're not flying long, or you're just kind of running, testing it out in your backyard in your grandpa's farm. I don't know, somewhere. And then once you feel like you can do it, take the next step, buy the drone. It depends on how serious you want to be. Nowadays, everything is changing so fast. Not only the drones are getting, when we started with drones, they were really big, and you put like reds on it.
So
Nowadays, you can get like smaller drones with smaller cameras that look pretty cool.
I looked into drones 3 years ago. You and I talked about this, and when I looked into it at the time, it was $36,000
Yeah.
to get a drone. And I went, well, it's not really worth $36,000 in order to get that stuff. But I mean, they've come down huge, but I think people are also trying to get by with like little cheap things. They expect to get a lot of great footage out of something that's a little cheap. So if you wanted to get to the place where you were doing this kind of seriously, you'd suggest like what you shot with, like the DJI Inspire or something.
Most people, like right now, everybody's landing around the DJI Inspire because it's wider, so that it's more stable in the air, has the stabilizing head. The legs raise up, so you have 360 view. Really, you don't have you can also pan with the actual drone, but you can also pan the head separately, so you can do pretty cool stuff like that. The camera is quote unquote, I think 4K or 2.5K, which is pretty good. And so when you look at this kind of corporate promotional stuff, even commercial, people are using in commercial nowadays. It's very inexpensive to do. So to get to that level is once you learn how to fly, you learn the controls. You can get like a Phanta maybe, like which is only like $1,200. And once you learn that, you can go out to DJI one and start doing your flights, start doing your personal projects. Make sure you follow the rules. The moment you break the rules, someone catches you doing that, I'm pretty sure you're red flag for a long time. Yeah. So just make sure if you're gonna be serious, it's just like anything in life. Take it seriously. Be careful. Go through the process, apply through flight plans, and hopefully within a year and a half, 2, or whatever it is, depends where you are in the country. Here in Canada, you can develop a relationship, and I don't know exactly how the process is, but you can get the blanketed license, which everyone I talk to is the best way, because you can get a call, hey, I need some drone shoots tomorrow. They ask, where is it? They check, make sure that everything's within the parameters. If it works, okay, let's do it. And instead of having to like, okay, I gotta apply. Someone that I talked to in Calgary before, the person I hired, they were like rushing me to give him the date because they needed to apply. I was like, I cannot give you the date yet. I don't know what's happening. What is it? Whether it changes, what's going to happen? And just I couldn't go with it. Even though the guy was a very nice guy, I couldn't go with him. I had to find someone who was blanketed because we need to improvise. Like even the day we were in Edmonton, the first half of the day was just overcast. So we literally sat around waiting for the sun to come out. So you just got to keep working, get the license, and then take it seriously. And then if you want to like get a bigger one, like the Ectodome or whatever it's called with the 8 blades, you can put like a red or something like that. You can also do that. But nowadays, people are always trying to find ways to, like even if you shoot a commercial on Alexa Red, they're getting DJI One inspired to get the drone stuff in.
Yeah, it's about mixed media.
And it mixes pretty well.
Yeah. The last thing, always remember insurance. I know that it seems boring, it seems silly, it seems square, but the last thing you'd want to do is just have something go wrong, especially in the States where it's really easy to prove negligence. And you're going to have a lawsuit for like no reason really.
Yeah.
It's just have your insurance covered. The last thing you want to do is okay, so you might write off a $2,000 or $3,000 item. That's not the end of the world, right? The end of the world is a $2 million lawsuit, or worse, someone really getting hurt. Yeah. So why are you laughing at me, Leah?
Or your drone being attacked by an eagle. Did you see the footage?
A drone being attacked by
an eagle, or by some like a hawk or something? There was a guy flying somewhere in Africa taking pictures, and all of a sudden you see this hawk or eagle just come towards the drone. They just totally went crazy at it. I thought it was a bird.
We'll put that on the podcast page. So on the podcast page, we will have the eagle being attracted by a drone,
the
eagle,
Roman candle shooting,
as well as British
picture
people.
Of a crocodile?
Oh, sure. Picture of a crocodile. Okay, as well as the the guys in the UK. If the video's still up. Crashing.
If you're lucky, we'll put the link to the Wikipedia of drones.
And we'll also put a link to iTunes for Muse's new album, Drones.
Drones, yes.
Came out in June. Mark's already heard it. So
yeah, it's not as
well.
Not
also,
as good
like
as
the U.S. Open, just like a few weeks ago, someone crashed a drone into one of the stands while there was a tennis match going on.
What about Ricky Iglesias? Was it Ricky Iglesias who lost part of his finger? He lost part of his finger. We had that footage on a blog post we did a little bit earlier. Yeah, because he reached out. He reached out to hold it, and it worked really well. And he put his hand down. Then he reached out a second time, and it caught his finger and severed the end of it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Or what about that person who got hit in the head? Because was it TGI Fridays or Chili's?
What?
Someone in the States would fly a drone around the restaurant. One of the little guys would fly a drone around the restaurant. As like hey, this is cool, this is funny, this is neat. And then it hit someone in the face, and I think it broke their nose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That didn't go over well.
How is that funny and cool? They're like,
well, have you ever been have you ever been to one of these restaurants where like on a Tuesday night they bring a magician in?
No, I would love that.
America.
Okay. No, not even America. We went to Montana's like a few years ago. No, we went at Finch and Don Mills.
Obviously in Oshawa.
Finch and Don Mills in Toronto, in North York.
That's not real Toronto anymore. That's like Markham.
Whatever. So we went to Montana's. I guess it was Steele's and Don
How
Mills.
good was this magician?
He was terrible. But the point was, it was also awkward because he comes around the table while you're eating dinner on a Tuesday night. And listen, they do this at restaurants. They try to
are you sure it wasn't a musician? They have those at
a magician. The guy took a card, had me write my name on it, and then it ended up like in my glass or something stupid like that. But
how
ruined my entire night.
That's odd.
That is so
But they do this
cool.
stuff. They do this stuff to try and listen, if you don't serve good food, you got to do something to get people to come out to the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
You won't see a Greek restaurant with mama in the kitchen having magicians and drones fly around because they got good food, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, that was a good throw to your ethnic background.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if I've yet to find good Greek food in this city.
Oh, what? What about Astoria?
Wow.
Have you been to Astoria?
Have you been to Mr. Greek?
Hold on. Sorry, you've never been to the best Greek restaurant in Toronto, and you say there's no good Greek food?
No.
Go to Astoria.
So there we go.
There.
On the Danforth and Pape, I think.
Oh, God.
Anyway, listen, thanks so much for joining me, guys, for this conversation on drones. Or do you want to say it like that? Drones.
Yeah.
Drones. Coming up next.
No, drone in.
Drone in.
Yeah.
Drone in.
Enjoy all your droning.
Drone in. Coming up next, the question of the week.
And listen to the Muse album. It's awesome.
Dun, 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 dun,
I don't know if that's true, but I said that.
Hey there, it's Mark. Real quick message. I hope you guys aren't getting tired of hearing from this every single week, but we would love to hear from you. We have people in the audience who've reached out to us by Twitter, by email, and it's fantastic. We super appreciate it because, to be honest, we're doing this. This isn't a profit center for us. We don't get revenue off this. We're doing this because we love the medium. We love helping out. We get a lot of questions from people within the industry. And so we created the podcast as a way to try and share information, to try and spotlight people who are doing cool things. So if you have a question, let us know. We are totally open to it. If you have a suggestion, if you have something you like or don't like, just let us know. We'd really appreciate any feedback. And if you can help spread the word within the community, within the video community as to what we're doing, that would be super cool. We would love it, and we appreciate you listening. With this week's question of the week, it's Roland. Go, Roland.
Let's go back to drones.
Sure.
So when it comes to a project, is there a point for anyone to try to push drone footage as yes, you must have it, or really is more of a static kind of choice and doesn't add much more value than not doing it?
I think that drone footage is a creative choice. It is not anything other than a creative choice. So will a project fail because it doesn't have drone footage? No. Will it not hit its objectives? No. But like the way that you may choose to spend the extra time on dolly footage, and rather than just doing this handheld Steadicam shot, you might choose to bring in tracks. You might bring in a proper dolly with dolly grips and all of that stuff. That's an aesthetic, creative choice you're doing. The same way you might want to bring in a jib to get, the certain lift or the certain crane shot that you might want to get. That is a creative choice that you're doing. In my mind, drone footage is similar to that. It's something that is never needed, but really, really, really important for creative reasons. If you're shooting a concert, if you ever shoot a concert, a live event like a concert without a jib, it's just a lot of static shots.
Yeah.
A lot of static shots.
Yeah.
So in that case, you might say the jib is 100% necessary. You need that crane, you need that footage in there because you need the sweeping shots over the crowd. You need that stuff. But then you go and shoot, you go shoot a conference, a TEDx conference, and the jib isn't required at all. It's just something that you might put there because you may want it or like it, but it's not really required. If you're in the NFL and shooting football, you might say that the cameras that run on the tethered cameras that run on the cables, you might say that that's a necessity. It's something you have to get in order to get the camera to move from end to end of the field quickly enough to get the shots to get blah blah blah, whatever it is. Again, you're shooting a corporate thing. You're not going to be tethering up. You're not going to be running lines and running cables and have these cameras doing it. So in our world, I would suggest that it's something that could be very important, but almost never necessary.
I think that there's projects where it could be a necessity. Like, what if you were doing like a documentary on inaccessible underground caves, or you wanted to document.
So you're going to fly a drone underground?
Yeah, like in the cave, like that would be hard for, say, a person to go in and survey or get footage of.
Yeah, if you're prepared to lose a drone potentially.
Yeah, or what if you were like trying to gather like footage of like.
So the truth is that a drone is necessary whenever aerial footage is necessary, right?
Yeah.
So but it's a much more achievable, affordable. And often it can be swapped out. Like, if you're shooting something for trains, right? Like trains, like the GE ad that they keep pushing in terms of, hey, we make magic because we make trains. Right? There's these beautiful sweeping shots of trains running through the mountains. I mean, if you're going to do that, you need a helicopter, you need aerial footage. That you may be able to replace some of that stuff on a smaller level with drones.
Right.
But there's never going to be really a situation in my mind where you're like, I have to have drone footage. I'm not saying that's not important. It's just never necessary because even with the project that we shot across Canada,
I mean, it transformed the project. If you looked at the before and then the after, it like nailed home what these guys were trying to do.
Is it a better video with it? Yes.
Right.
Is it worth the additional budget that they spent? We produced it in December.
Right.
We rolled it out in April, and the project was done. The whole video was done without aerial footage. And then as a phase 2, we went around and shot all of this stuff and added it. I believe so. The client believed so. But you turn to any other client with or any other person who's in charge of their budget, they may say not. They may say, you know what? It's not really necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if this is the same thing where we could walk into a server farm. Right? We shot at a server farm years ago. Really hard to shoot because there's not much to it. And we may look at that server farm and say, you know what? Let's just shoot all of these sweeping handheld shots carefully and then stabilize everything to get these kind of sweeping shots with movement. And you know what? You walk around with a camera, maybe you bring a Steadicam operator, and you can get these shots. Equally, you could say, you know what? I'm going to lay down and level out all of this track and bring in cricket. Is that what it's called? I don't even know the terms. What's the dolly called?
Micro dolly?
No, like a proper dolly. Like
Dory Dolly?
A cricket?
Pee-wee?
Mark
A
really wants to
peewee,
call
a
it
peewee.
Okay. All right.
A peewee. Yeah, you bring in a peewee, and so now all of a sudden to get the proper shots with
Yeah.
the head that can elevate and can go around with a nice heavy, steady piece. Now you have a larger cube rental because you need to load it
Yeah,
on and off.
yeah.
You need to get it in and out of the building. You got to level everything off. It's still going to achieve the same thing, but one is like proper. One is the right way to do
Yeah.
it, the expensive way to do it, the
Right.
better way to do it. The other one's kind of cheap. That's, in my mind, what this is like. Is the project we did better with the footage? Yeah. But the client doubled their budget, right? Like we finished the project and it was good. It was really good. But then they chose to spend more money to make it better.
But do you think as the prices go down on this stuff, would that change your position, or what do you think it'll just?
We did it as cheap for them as as can be done.
Okay.
Right? It's not like as equipment goes down, the cost of this will go down because
Right.
insurance won't go down.
Right.
The amount of hours required to be there won't change. The only thing it's going to do is for people who are Wild West, it'll open up opportunities for them. They'll
Okay.
buy a crappy camera with a crappy, drone. They won't go with any of the insurance. They won't go with any of the rules. They'll just shoot it, and if they get in trouble, they get in trouble. And there will be a flood on the market of that happening,
Right.
which will hurt companies like ours who have to do things the proper way. But at the same time, that's always existed.
Yeah.
Certain companies go and you get shooting permits if you need to shoot at a place. You bring
Sure.
on an on-duty. You get insurance. You close down streets. You do things a certain way. Other companies just show up. I think Casey Nazet in New York is perfect for this. Like he shot, a Mercedes commercial at 5 a.m. in Manhattan without any permits. Did he get in trouble for it? No. He didn't. The footage is amazing. It's super fun. It's super gritty. It's super great. But equally another producer shooting Mercedes commercials would probably shut down the streets. They'd get the permits. They'd have the budget. They'd do what they need to do.
Right.
Both achieved similar things.
Right.
One person just went about it Wild West, and that's fine. He got away with it. He didn't get arrested. He didn't get sued. He didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
There's footage of him, on a skateboard being pulled by a car down Broadway. Awesome footage.
Yeah.
But if he ever went about that the proper way, it would have been way too expensive to do.
Right.
So again, either people can accuse me of being a bit square because maybe I am. I'm always worried about things kind of going wrong. But either you're going to do it the right way, and for us, it's never going to really lower costs because there's a certain cost to do things the right way.
Right.
Or there's going to be this flood of people just making it up as they go along, and that will get a lot cheaper.
Cool.
Whenever you say Wild Wild West, I think of
Will Smith.
Welcome to Miami.
Will
Yeah.
Smith.
What
But
is that you
actually
say?
the
Welcome
song-
to
Gambino,
Gambino.
Miami.
Yeah, Campanino Abiani. That's what it is.
Gambino,
right?
Amy.
Wow.
No, Amy.
Amy. Yeah.
That big giant spider in the movie.
What?
Wild
Yeah.
Wild West.
I never saw that
gross.
You
movie.
never saw that?
What?
No, I never saw Wild
You know
West.
that
The-
giant spider was actually in a Superman script?
Oh.
That Kevin Smith refused to take out.
That's
or
right.
something like that.
That's right.
And then 2 years later, he's in that movie. It's hilarious.
What happened? Tell me the story.
So Kevin Smith wrote a Superman script,
Yeah.
and apparently that fucking giant spider was in it,
Okay.
or
The producer
producer,
demanded
exactly.
in the script.
yeah,
So Kevin Smith, I think he jumped ship. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
not doing
he's
a
like,
fucking
I'm outta
spider
here.
in the script.
yeah,
And then like a year or two later, Wild West comes on as a giant
and it's the
spider.
giant spider.
Did Kevin Smith write it?
No, the same
No.
producer.
Same producer, yeah.
He's obsessed
know-
with the giant spiders.
I was listening to it just reminds me of a story. I was listening to Oasis. I was listening to Noel
Yeah.
Gallagher talk about how when he was doing these music videos, there's this great video of him narrating his videos and how stoned he was and how crazy he was when he did it. But he said this guy came up to him when they were getting popular, he's like this director, and he's like, listen, man, I got this vision for Oasis. I got this thing. It's going to be so awesome. This is the music video. This is what we're going to do. This is the creative. This is how great it is. Oh, it's so great. And he's just like, I don't know if I like it. Well, for financial reasons, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they shake hands. They go the other way. 2 months later, that exact creative for that exact concept is with a different artist for a different band with a different song, and Noel Gallagher's like, this guy's so full of shit. Like he comes to me telling me that he's created this concept just for me, and then a few months later it's just with someone else doing the exact same thing. That's what the giant spider reminds me of.
What's that, the Verve music video?
Yeah, the Verb music
With them
video is
walking?
exactly what I thought. Yeah.
What, in terms of Bittersweet Symphony?
Yeah, that was.
Because
What's it
Yeah,
called?
Bittersweet
Yeah,
Symphony.
you got it.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
No,
Yes.
Bittersweet Symphony is the Rolling Stones song that it was based on. What's the Verve song?
It is, I'm pretty sure it's also called that.
No, it's called something else.
Look it up, Leah. We didn't do
Leah,
much.
Google it.
I'm going through the words.
Bittersweet. No, the Verve. Look up the Verve. Remember the Verve Pipe? They were pretty good with the Freshmen. What a good song
Okay,
that was.
yeah.
One hit wonder.
Yeah.
You can't sing off camera, off mic.
Oh my god.
Google the Verve. Bittersweet Symphony?
There you go.
Oh. So what's the Rolling Stones song that it's based off of?
Oh my goodness.
Because they took the music, right? And you got sued and lost all the money from that.
I know
That's
he's
right,
broke
yeah.
right now.
It's too bad.
Do you remember The Other Man? That was his follow-up song. I
Was it
think.
good?
That album was good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it?
See, I know more about music than I do about movies. Although I don't know much about music. To be honest with you, 'cause I couldn't remember Bittersweet Symphony.
Okay.
Oh,
that-
Symphony for the Devil. That's the
There
Rolling
we go.
Stones song. Boom.
But
There
those
you go.
those songs have nothing to do with each other.
Yes, they do. It's
This
the
is the
lip.
music.
It's not
The
the
music
other
was
man?
Is
reversed.
it?
Yeah, the
Yes,
music
and
is
then he
the
got sued for
Oh,
it.
is that the okay?
Yes.
All right.
So Bittersweet
bad.
Symphony is the Verve. Symphony for the Devil is the Rolling Stones.
Yes, and it's not The Other Man. It's Lucky Man. I like that song
Lucky
better.
Man. Lucky,
Lucky
Oh,
man.
better
Oh my
song.
god, you think you know about music? Here we go.
Yeah.
Corrected. Boom.
I just said I
Boom.
don't know much, but I know that I
Oh,
love you,
you need to come correct, Leah.
and that's all I really need to know.
That's how we
Who's
pay Leah
that?
the big bucks, the correct mark.
I don't know much.
That's Linda Ronstadt and Peebo Bryson.
How do you know that?
I just know that, man.
Roland, what about Roland's song? Roland used to sing "All by myself." Don't want to bury something.
That's Leo Sayer.
No. It's on
Barry something.
my-
Okay,
I
can
was
we
going to
wrap
say
it
Barry
up?
Maguire, but it's not Barry Maguire. Jerry
No,
Maguire.
Celine Dion did a version.
No, she did.
Yeah,
She's
she
done
did a version
everything.
of that.
Oh gosh.
She's done everything.
Anyway, with that, we're going to wrap things up. Listen, guys, thanks so much for joining me and talking about drones today and all this music and all this other stuff. Roland, thanks for being here, bud.
And keep on droning.
Louis, Leah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And
Cha-ching. I'm being
47
paid now.
droning.
Cha-ching. And we'll
Good job,
catch you
Leah.
guys.
You did great. You did good.
We'll catch you
Thank
guys
you.
droning
Getting
in
better.
the future.
High five.
Okay.
High five, yeah.
Have a great day, everyone.
Ciao.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh,
Sure.
boy, finally.
How come you get to sit in your chair and the rest of us?
That's not a question. It's just a comment.
He
So-
asked us if we wanted to sit down.